Scene on BBC Radio London with Aurie Styla.
This is The Scene.
Black and Gold, Sam Sparrow, Aurie Styla, BBC Radio London. Now we're going to get into some hot topics with my guests, Rebecca Winter, Mr. Rowe and Jay Amore. If you want to get involved in these conversations, tweet us at BBC Radio London and text in on 81333. But start your text with the word London. These are some hot topics. We're going to go into hot topic number one first. You've got to double check. Are my people in the building? You guys here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Nice.
Here.
All right, people are here. Good. I hear you. You lot are here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first one I'm going to talk about, well, I need to know, do any of you watch any soaps?
Yeah.
I used to.
Grew up on them.
You grew up on soaps?
Yeah.
You used to watch? What about you, Jay?
Not since Sunset Beach, you know.
Sunset Beach.
Sweet Moses.
That is a long time ago, bro.
Yeah.
All right, Rebecca, you kind of watch soaps?
Used to.
Okay, and Mr. O?
Grew up on them. I haven't watched them for a while, but you know, there's the same thing where you miss one for a week and you watch it again and you catch up just like that.
Fair enough. Well, some soap news. Coronation Street, you heard? First black family appearing on Coronation
I
Street.
heard about that.
Like the whole family. Not just one member in the background, but the whole family.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
First
that's what I
black
thought.
family.
Lord,
So it's the
yeah.
first time this soap has ever had a black family, even though it's been on for, wait for it, nearly 60 years.
Wow.
So the new family are called the Baileys, and we made up of Dad Edison, Mum Aggie, and sons Michael and James. Firstly, what do you think? Your views? Black family, Coronation Street?
Good. Let's
Thanks.
see how typical it's going to be.
Thanks.
See?
Well done.
All right. What do you mean by that then, Rebecca?
Because I just feel like, as a black family, obviously you've got to represent society to some extent. So you're not just going to completely flip it. But there's going to be a lot of stereotypes involved, I feel like. Or even if there's not, everyone's just going to raise a finger every time something happens that's related to
Well,
black culture.
before I tell you kind of a bit about their background, because I've done some research.
Okay.
What kind of stereotypes you hoping they avoid?
Troublesome boys. That's my
That's the main one?
Yeah, I'll say
The
troublesome
wayward
boys.
boys leading the good boy astray story, or suddenly
sort of
there's a new pregnancy story and one of the black boys are involved.
Okay. All right. What about you, Jay?
Like, imagine if they did this story, like, ignore who the actors were in real life, but if they did this story like the Huxtables, I'd be so happy.
Yeah?
Like,
That'd
if they
be
did
good,
that,
yeah.
that, I'd be happy, because what you're doing is you're representing what it is we're trying to ensure that people know, as
That
opposed to
exists,
representing what the media has already spent enough time on.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So in my mind, I'm like, please tell me that your writers are like from Harlesden or something, because then I'll know.
You'll know
Then
it's
I'll
the
know
Coronation
Coronation Street in Manchester, looking for people in Harlesden to write for them.
Please,
Not Moss Side in Manchester, but
Please.
Harlesden.
please.
NW. Okay.
Yeah.
Just something that I can see and say, yeah, that represents me and that represents what I'm trying to be represented by.
Well, I'll tell you the breakdown. You've got the father Edison, who is a builder. He was a property developer, and then he
Nice.
buys a building lot from one of the members already on Coronation Street. He buys a building lot, and now it's his own. So he's a builder and property developer, coming from a property development background. His oldest son, I believe his oldest son is Michael. Michael is going to be working on the lot with him. Michael's known to be a bit of a cheeky chappy, but works with his father, right? Mum Aggie, who, if I remember clearly, is going to be working in I believe a pharmacy. I'll double check that. And son, James, footballer, aspiring footballer, is on the Weatherfield team, but also has a secret that his family doesn't know yet. James is a gay.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah, they changed it.
So he's going to be, it's going to be a lot around him because he's like the glue of the family, but because he's gay and they don't know,
That's going to be an
the
active
story of him
yeah.
coming out and the family accepted. Now there was some, generally speaking, everyone's review on when the story broke was it's great to see that, but I always try and look at the other side of it as well. There's a part of me that goes, it's good to see the story, black family on Coronation Street, but then on the other side, why would I celebrate that now when it's 60 years the program's been going, and it's only now that maybe that has been on. In terms of representing society, we're talking about a place which is supposed to represent Greater Manchester. Why is it only now? And those questions come up, and we threw that in a few of my friend groups and so on, and there's some interesting views that's come up. And so just to play devil's advocate, why only now are we seeing after 60 years? I mean, if you look at EastEnders, there's been several black families. Not all have had positive images on them, but there have been several that have been in there. Some positive, some not so much so. Even in Emmerdale, in Brookside. And that's a long time ago, Brookside. Right? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But why only now for Coronation Street? Any idea why?
I don't want to be bad and say it's just because of, you know, it's almost to take that and how do I explain this? I need to be careful.
Yeah,
what I'm
take your
gonna say.
time. Take your time.
But what I'm trying to say is, I feel like not because of the hype, but in a sense, I feel like they know that this is gonna get people talking. Do you get what I mean?
It's almost like a story which is not shocking enough, but at least like a wow. It's got a wow
Clickbait
factor to it.
Exactly,
to it.
because
Yeah.
right now, because if you look at Coronation Street right now, I'm sure it has its market, but in terms of bringing in a new market, this is the best way to do it.
I think so. I don't think I did. I mean, none of us here when we spoke about soaps mentioned Coronation Street. Many of my friends, when I said, "Do you watch it?" they say no. They feel like it's for an older generation. Maybe this could be to bring in a newer generation
Yeah.
of people to watch it.
Like I do not feel like they've done this to. Well, they might have done this partially to liberate black people, but I feel like it's definitely more of a like a not a public stunt, but a thing that will get people talking a bit more, something to bring more attention to it.
Okay.
But definitely not to like liberate black people. Like I definitely feel like this is just purely for views purpose, like getting people interested and excited to see what's going to come next.
Okay. Is that? I mean, is that so bad? Maybe to get people to pay attention. I'm only throwing questions out because I'm going to throw from as many angles as I can. Go on, Mr. O. what
It's
you gonna say?
not really a bad thing because at the end of the day, it can't hurt. I guess the culture of black people, because in some way it's giving people from our community jobs and it's allowing them to work on something that, even though it's not their fault that there hasn't been anyone for the last 60 years, it's given them an opportunity to kind of literally trailblaze on a show that, like I said, hasn't had a black family in 60 years. That's a lot.
Nearly 60 years, yeah.
That's a lot. So, and again, with a forward story as a gay, with the son being gay, that also could possibly lean into quite an untouched area of
homosexuality in the black
That's
community,
which is
trying
still
to come out to your parents culturally, between different cultures, how that's different. So if they do this correctly, they could actually tap into something that
Definitely.
isn't being touched at the moment. But it doesn't take away.
No.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that in the last 60
had
years,
that story 15 years ago. That guy Christian who came out and was a long thing and they had that story.
true. But if they took it from a cultural aspect, where if the family was, let's say, extremely Caribbean or extremely African, where they have those thoughts and deal with things how that we know that they are to be dealt with, it could be quite interesting if they took it that way. But
That's exactly
you know.
why I feel like it would be interesting. Like I feel like it wouldn't be, again, to liberate any particular community. It's just giving people more things to talk about personally.
There's a part of me that that I always throw towards this is the devil's advocate in terms of just looking at it from another side. And the main side that when I did play this is, like I said to you earlier on, is why now? And I started to look at other things. Disney was another one where Disney, when they had The Princess and the Frog come out, there was a big thing about this being the first black princess. And everyone was like, this is amazing. Now my children can look up to somebody. And that is the positive side. If you have when you have kids parties and it's like a princess or Disney party, it tends to be that young black children or children from many different cultures don't have anyone that represents them.
Exactly.
I mean, you have, in terms of the princesses, you had a lot of them were blonde hair, white, or black hair, white. Then you had Jasmine, who was
Aladdin.
So that was Arabian. And then where was our black princess? And then Princess and the Frog comes out and was like, great. Then the other side kicked in. I was like, well, two things. One, Walt Disney was founded by Walt Disney, who was very much a sympathizer to one side, which we don't need to mention in terms of when it came to the world wars, and it was not a very positive side per se. So did it have to be on his platform that we had to see a great black princess, where initially, if he was alive, he wouldn't be saying no to that.
Exactly.
The other side to that was, if you looked at all the princes and princesses that the other princes and princesses had, all of them were tall, stunning, great. In The Princess and the Frog, when she kissed the frog, she turned into a frog. The frog didn't turn into a prince.
Yeah.
It felt like we got the short straw in that one as well.
Yeah.
And that's me playing on the other side, just throwing a few questions. And then what kind of summed up to the one question is, why is it that it has to be on platforms that for so long haven't really wanted to try and represent the majority or a wide variety of people, that we now need them to now represent us without going, well, hold on, you didn't want us, why don't we go somewhere else and build something ourselves? Jay, you got words coming out of your mouth ready to say.
My bro, you're literally, the last thing you just said was exactly where my heart is at. I'm like, stop this dialogue of wanting some crumbs from another man's table. Like, and it is literally, look at it, it is crumbs. This Coronation Street thing is crumbs from another man's table. So much so that after 3,000 episodes,
Probably a lot of episodes.
you now want to introduce some black folk as a minority, and let's just go ahead and group them with another minority that we're having in the news, so that we can just kill two birds with four crumbs.
Star. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
With 4 crumbs.
Like, come on, man. Like, thing is, don't get it twisted. I'm sorry to say, and sorry to any viewers who love this. I don't watch Coronation Street anyway, right? Okay. Viewers, listeners. But regardless, every time we have this massive celebration because we've been offered the small piece of the, the leftover something, I'm like, just point me in the direction of the company who just has a normal black British family and is just living their life, and that's how that element of that soap goes.
Okay.
Let it just because there's so much more culture you'll find in the normality of, for example, black, British and gay. There's much more culture in the normality of it than in the frenzy that we put to it. Mm-hmm. There's so much more normality. One of my best friends is a black, British, gay singer, and he's dope. And if you spend so much time on the fact that he's black and gay, you leave aside that he's dope and British, which is actually something that spreads across the world. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? This whole media frenzy about, oh my God, black people are on Coronation Street. That's one of those exceptions proving the rule kind of moments where it's like, that exception proved that Coronation Street didn't really need to have black people in it. And it still don't. Let it do its thing. Everyone loved it for 60 years, 3,000 episodes without no black people. Let them continue watching and loving it without black people because it's normality there. What you're adding in is something to keep the chat going, like Rebecca said. The chat going, look, black people in it.
Yeah, it's so like, it's almost like a promo for it by just doing what could have been done many years ago as a thing that was normal.
Right.
I get you on that
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, which I know you are, and you've got opinions, tweet us at BBC Radio London, text in 81333. What's your views? We've got a first black family on Coronation Street. Is it a good thing, bad thing? Should it have happened earlier? Is this going to be something that liberates or opens up the conversation to a positive view of maybe having families from different minority backgrounds in soaps like this? Let us know what your views are. Until then, we've got some great music. Earth, Wind and Fire, Reasons.